right, everybody, we are live, and you may notice that a couple of things have changed. So I have new hair. This is the 4th of 4 to show off to you. So I am taking votes, I guess, I guess what everyone's favorite is. And you'll notice too that we have a new studio. We have new equipment. So Joel says, yeah, so Joel says he loves this new hair. This one he says is his favorite. So you're welcome to vote. I don't know, should I put up like an actual poll in the group and like have the pictures of the 4 different ones? I think I might just like cycle through them every week. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we have a new camera, and oh my gosh, Joel, the air conditioning in here is not working, and I am gonna be a pool of sweat before this before this live stream is over. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, it just keeps turning off. Anyway, so yeah, so you can see I'm already getting a little shiny here because it's my air conditioning is not working. So oh, we've got Angel saying she's brand new and she thinks it's lovely. Thank you. So anyway, so yeah, so we have so I have new hair to show off today, and we have all new equipment. We hired this company to help us with our social media presence, and they insisted that we get all this new equipment, and the camera like makes me look really fancy, right? Like I'm very, it's like very, they call it cinematic. So I'm very cinematic now. So anyway, and I don't know what the sound, we've got a new mic. When we were testing it earlier, it seemed like a little echoey, so I don't know. So we're waiting. Boy, we've got a lot of new folks. A lot of new folks. So I was last week when I'd forgotten that I had to set up the chat, because the other thing that happened we've got a lot of new people here. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe how many new people we have on joining that are saying they're new. But so a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was the end of May, I can't remember, sometime, Facebook changed their rules for streaming into groups, and so this was all a big like change for us. And one of the things that I lost was my ability to see your chats, and I figured out how to do it, but then last week I forgot to set it up, and so and I said to myself, okay, next week we have to remember that that's another thing I have to set up. And then as I was getting everything set up, I was like, what was that thing that I said I have to remember to set up? And I didn't do it. And so anyway, so what this means is, for me, it doesn't affect you, but what it means for me is that I have to kind of do a little kind of crazy thing here so that I can read your chats. It's just, yeah, it's just not as good and convenient for me. I cannot believe how many people are saying that they are new, that this is their first time, and holy cow. What, I mean, I'm delighted. I'm delighted that you're here, but I'm also curious as to like what happened. Was it because I posted the reminder just 30 minutes before? Was it because I sent the email last night instead of this morning? I don't know. Like, I would love holy cow, Jody, like another new person. All these people saying it's their first time. Wow. All right. Well, I am delighted. I'm delighted to have you. I'm delighted to have so many new members and so many first time people. Or Tracy is saying it's her second time. Anyway, we love to have you here, and I love talking about QBO. Jenny says the email and reminder. Bella says it was the email. See, so that's why I send out emails, but people get people get upset about the number of emails we send. So it's a fine balance. Amy Lynn, thank you. You missed what I was talking about earlier. This is the 4th of 4 to show off to you guys, so you can decide which one you like. Joel said this is his favorite. So we'll see. But anyway, I think I might just I'm either going to do a poll inside the group to see which one people like the best, or I'll just cycle through them every week. I don't know. So it's in real life. So in the studio, it looks kind of like reddish, but in natural light, it looks, it's very blonde, and I've never been a blonde at all. So anyway, well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We don't want the new folks to realize how discombobulated we can be because I talk so much, and then we don't get around to actually doing the work. So we want to actually be doing the work. So let me go ahead and do our intro so we can get started. Welcome to our live stream. This is our live stream that we do inside of the QBO Gym Locker Room Facebook group every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And the purpose of the locker room is hands-on practice. We are all about hands-on, hands-on, hands-on. Heidi is asking if we open QBO to follow along with the exercise or just watch. I want you to follow along. Open QBO, actually do it. We will, once I'm done with my intro here, you'll actually get the link for the exercise that we're doing today so that you can follow along. Okay? So anyway, the locker room is it's your spot for hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. This is what we are all about. Our total focus is getting you the actual doing of it, doing QuickBooks Online. So inside the Facebook group, you have access to a free Getting Started course. The free Getting Started course covers how to get your free QBO accountant account, what actually is a QBO accountant account, how to navigate the account, terminology and workflows that you need to know. There are hands-on exercises that get you oriented to QuickBooks Online, so you kind of get your feet wet and know what you're doing. Okay, everybody has that. So so if you don't know how to access it was emailed to you, your link to access your course when you joined the locker room. So make sure you get that. Okay. You also have access to over 100 free exercises. People are always asking me, how do I find the free exercises? So the way that you do it, so here we are inside the group, and there is, I was looking at this. Let me look at this like this. Okay. So my interface is a little bit different because I'm an admin, but generally you should see a featured section. You can also click featured up here, but you should see a featured section, and inside the featured section there is a welcome post that has all of the links and everything that you need to know, including those 100 free hands-on exercises that you can use to get familiar with and learn skills and features of QuickBooks Online. Okay. We also have, in addition to, let me go back. Let me go back. Also, as a member of the locker room, you get to join us on these live streams. Now, we do post the recording on YouTube. But if you want to join us live, if you want the link to the actual exercise that we're doing, if you want to ask questions and feedback, then you do need to join the locker room. So you get a free exercise of the week, the weekly live stream, so you can follow along. The exercise of the week comes from our subscription product. So this is not the free part, but the subscription product is called the QBO Gym. The QBO Gym is a simulated experience of being a bookkeeper. So you can think of it as your first client, but it's a simulated environment, and for an entire year you can work through exercises and actually work with this client. Okay, so the QBO Gym, when you work in the QBO Gym, all of the work that you do is tracked in BooksMatch. Now, BooksMatch is the dashboard for everybody, all of our courses. With Fast and Easy QBO, everybody gets BooksMatch. But only the people that are subscribed to the gym will have a dashboard that looks like this, where we track the skills that you're actually learning and validating while you are going through all of the exercises. And so you can see we have skills determined. They're grouped into what we call skill groups. There's 10 of these skill groups. And so you can see the person that I pulled up here for troubleshooting. These were the things that she was learning. You can see how you compare to everyone else in the pool. So Kara here is above average. You can see, and then all of this information groups you into, we track 3 specific categories. They are knowledge, consistency, and speed. Knowledge is the breadth of what you have learned. So the amount of knowledge you have gained through using the QBO Gym. Consistency is how frequently you are upskilling. So we want to make sure that you are at least doing an exercise every other week. Every 14 days, we want you to do an exercise. And that's why we have an exercise of the week, because some people have done everything, and so they need an extra exercise to be able to keep their consistency high. And then speed is how quickly or how many skills you achieve in a week. So it's not about how fast you do the exercises, but how many skills you get in a single week. We take those 3 numbers and we put it into a ranking. Okay, so Kara here is considered exceptional. And then the beautiful thing is that when you are an active member of the gym, you have the opportunity to open up that profile, what we just saw. So I was looking at Kara here. Open up this profile to the world, so you can share with your prospects. You can put it on your website. You can, put it on LinkedIn or whatever, so people can track your progress. And then if you have the little slider that says you're open to work, then you're put in this pool so that recruiters and people who are looking for bookkeepers can find you there. And this is why it's really important to do those skills, so that as they're looking, they're going to want the people who are marked as exceptional. So here are some people that their knowledge is only average, but they're kicking butt, which means so their speed is high, and those are marked as rising talent. They're still green, it's still good. Okay. So that is why we have the exercise of the week, is so that you can keep your BooksMatch account active. And we want to, we are very shortly, we're working on it right now. We just finalized or nearly finalized the website that they come to, and it's free to you. It's free to you, just as, the only thing you're paying is your membership to the gym. And so people can come and find you, and we are hoping to just pour leads into you because you're doing all this work. You should be rewarded for it. So that's why we have the exercise of the week. But the benefit of that is that here on the live stream, you guys get to also get the exercise of the week, and we're going to work through it together, and it's absolutely free when you are joining live. Okay, I saw a couple of questions that came in. Let's see. Email last night. Okay, he's just saying why he joined. Okay, I've not joined. Will I have I have not joined the gym. Hopefully, June, I just answered that question. If you're not in the gym, the only way to get the exercise of the week is to join us on the live stream. So, so you're here and you're going to get the exercise in just one moment. Let's see. Brenda joined the gym. And okay, I think I got the questions. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into our exercise of the week, which is right here. Click here to practice. We're going to be talking about matching bank feed transactions. So I actually already have mine up, but Joel will put that in the chat right now so that you guys can follow along. All right, there it is. Okay, so we're going to be talking about matching transactions from the bank feed. Now, this came up because, well, a couple of things. One is and I'll talk about this more in a minute, but right now for the rest of the summer, and I don't know how long it will last, but we are actually working through the Pro Advisor challenges. And these are exercises that Intuit provides inside your QBOA account. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. I want to back up and say that, and I'm actually going to take my, take off. So I just want to back up and say that somebody in the group posted in the group the other day asking what happens if you cannot match a transaction in the bank feed. What do you do? She couldn't remember. And so she was going through all of our exercises to try and find the exercise that covers like, what do you do if you don't find a match? And I said, oh, I will go find it. I looked. There are actually no free exercises on what to do if you don't find a match. This was shocking to me. I couldn't believe this. So we're going to develop more of those so that you know. If you're in the gym, you get lots and lots of practice on what happens if you don't find a match. And as I was chatting with this person in the Facebook group, I looked at the schedule for the live streams, and it just, like by pure coincidence, it just happens that today on the schedule was matching bank feeds. So this is what we're going to do today. I said this in the email agenda, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to work through this exercise, which is the adding, which is the matching. And then we're going to talk about what your options are for when you cannot match. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. And I'm also going to give you kind of some background for those of you who are brand new, what bank feed matching like even is. We'll get into that. Okay, so let's go back to the exercise. Again, Joel put it in the chat. Okay. So here is let me just make this a little bit bigger for you. Here is our scenario. So QuickBooks Online found 2 possible matches for a transaction in Craig's bank feed. He asked you to help him identify the correct match. Here's what you need to know. The account is checking. The payment was made to Squeaky Clean Car Wash. The payment amount was $19.99. Okay, so again, this is a Pro Advisor challenge, which means it is inside your QBOA account. And we have a little navigation here that tells you where to find it in the QBO training. So I'm just going to open up another tab here and show you, if you want to do more of these, find more of these Pro Advisor challenges, how to do that, okay? So this is a QBO accountant account. You can tell that it's an accountant account because it says accountant up here on the left-hand side, because this bar right here is gray. If you were in a client account, it would be black. And then it's divided by your practice up at the top and your books down at the bottom. Okay, so all of that tells you you are in an accountant account. Okay, when you're in an accountant account, you have an option here that says Pro Advisor. From there, you can select training. And this is the training hub, okay? So you have your training home, and my cursor doesn't like this, so I'm just gonna park it right there. You can get a personalized path. You can tell QBO like what you want to learn, and then if you want, this is the certification hub. If you want to take the certification tests, this is where you find the test. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the training library. So the personalized path, you tell them what you want to learn and they'll give you the matching lessons for that. But that's not what we want. We want to just see everything. And that's what the training library is for. Okay, so the training library is divided into product training and other training. So it automatically, almost all of the time, defaults to product training and having QuickBooks Online open, because typically like that's what we want to be learning. But I'm going to close this so you can see that for product training they have QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Payments, QuickBooks Online Payroll. If you want to take the certification test for payroll, that's where that is, and then time. Okay, but then in addition to the product training, they also have these foundational skills, foundation skills, advising clients, tax stuff. So there's a bunch of training in here. So I'm going to open back up QuickBooks Online, and then you'll notice that there are these different tiles that are different topics, okay? So if I go back to my exercise, you'll notice that it says, okay, in the left navigation bar, hover over Pro Advisor, click Training, we did that. Click the Training Library, we did that. Click QuickBooks Online. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on the banking tile. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the exercise. I'm gonna hit, so here is the banking tile. I'm gonna click that. That's kind of like the module. And you'll notice that it's divided into beginner, intermediate, and advanced skills. So intermediate was already open. I just clicked it so that it was closed, okay? The intermediate skills are the skills that are tested on the basic level certification, or what they call the core certification test, okay? You can tell because in this little icon, if you hover over it, it says that it is tested in the QuickBooks Online exam. Okay, so that is that, and then if I go to advanced skills and I hover over that, you'll notice it says tested in the QuickBooks Online advanced exam. Okay, so these are the advanced skills. Okay, now this skill is actually a beginner skill. I realized that that's why I don't have an exercise on the adding or what to do if it doesn't match, because it's not tested on it's not tested, it's not part of the exam. And almost all of those free exercises actually come from our certification courses. Anyway, so we're going to go to so we went on the banking tile. We are going to go to the beginner skills. And then we're going to go to this lesson, which is matching and adding transactions from the bank feed. Okay. So we're going to go to beginner skills. The second lesson, matching and adding transactions from the bank feed. And then the way that this works is, if you notice on the right hand side, there's topics. There is this link that says take our Pro Advisor Challenge. Okay, this is kind of their way of having an exercise to do this. Sometimes when we click on this, it'll go right to it. Other times it won't. Today it won't. So I'm just gonna keep scrolling, see if we can figure out why. Sometimes there's a knowledge check. Sometimes it means that they have to, you have to click on something. Notice that there's a section here, what happens if QuickBooks Online can't find a match. So you could read through that. We're also going to talk about it today. Okay, and I am, all right, so yeah, so there's a knowledge check that's preventing me from accessing the Pro Advisor Challenge, okay? Why don't they let you do the Pro Advisor Challenge before the knowledge check? I don't know, because I feel like you learn better if you do it first, rather than like having to answer a quiz question. But whatever, I don't work for Intuit. I want to make that very clear. I do not work for Intuit. All right, so let's get through this knowledge check. Where in the bank feed can you match or add transactions? The Categorize tab, the Update button, the For Review tab, or the Explore button. Okay, well, the Categorize tab is where they go after they have been processed, so it's not that. The Update button is not a thing. The For Review tab is where we're going to go to actually review things, so that's the actual answer. And the Explore button is not a thing. I lied just a little bit. There is a thing called the Explore button, and there used to be a thing called the Update button, but we're not gonna worry about that. All right, so check the answer. Well done. Now I'm going to continue to the training, and here is our Pro Advisor Challenge. Okay, so the Pro Advisor Challenge has you load the sample company, gives you a task. You'll notice that this is the scenario that I just read to you guys. Okay, QuickBooks Online found 2 possible matches for a transaction in Craig's bank feed. He's asked you to help him identify the correct match. Okay, so that is what they've said. They give you how did you do, which is just what it should look like after it's done. Then under our solution, they have kind of their step-by-step of how to do it. There's only like one little picture here. So what we do, what we're doing, I would just say for this first part of the year, so we're kind of wrapping up, we're near the end of getting through all of these Pro Advisor challenges, and we're just putting them in our signature format. Okay, so that's what this is. It's just the exact same exercise, but in our signature format, and pointing out things along the way that you don't get from following the Pro Advisor Challenge. Now, we're going to see if this works, guys. Last week, we had this next step, we had major technical difficulties with. So cross fingers, those of you who were here last week, you remember what happened. What happened. So in the exercise, okay, the first thing we have to do is load the sample company. And if you go, first thing I have to do is load the sample company. Let me go back and show you that. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Okay, here's the first thing you have to do is load the sample company. Almost all of our exercises are done in the sample company. There are some that are not for a variety of reasons, but the majority of them are in the sample company. So here I am in my accountant account, and if I go to the gear icon, you know, all of the trainers forever have called this the gear icon. This year, inside the training, they are now calling it the settings cog. The settings cog. I don't know if that's gonna take off or not, because we've been calling it the gear icon for so long. Yeah, there is a new person in charge of the Pro Advisor training over at Intuit, and I suspect that was her doing that. She changed the name of it. I don't know if this is, we're going to see. We'll see when the new material comes out in November what she has done. But anyway, so gear icon or settings cog, and then we select sample company, okay? It will log you out of your QBOA account. This is really important because if you are taking the test and you load the sample company, you will lose your test. So don't do that. If you're taking our courses, we'll teach you how to have the sample company and the test open at the same time. But yeah, don't do what we're doing now if you're taking a test. All right. So it's going to go ahead and load the sample company. Notice that the bar here turned black, okay? And it doesn't say accountant anymore, so we're now in the sample company. Craig's Design and Landscaping is our fictitious business, and Craig is our fictitious business owner. Okay, so now that we've done that, now that we have that open, you can, in the exercise, there is a, oh, maybe there isn't anymore. Oh my gosh, you guys. So now, you guys, oh my gosh. So, oh, that's right. I turned it off because we had so many problems. So there is a plugin that you can get, a Chrome extension that you can get called Scribe. Joel, did we save the link? It's not a link. It's not a link. It's a Chrome extension. So it's called Scribe, like AI documentation or something like that. And and if you have that installed, you can actually have the sample company and our exercises side by side. Last week, the Scribe extension went nuts, and so I actually had to turn it off, and it was like a crazy call last week. So with technical difficulties. So do I dare turn it back on for the purposes of today? Let's see. Sorry, no Scribe extension. Let's see. I'm going to go to Manage Extensions. I'm going to turn this back on. So this is what it's called. AI documentation, SOPs, and screen something. I can't see what it says. But anyway, so if you have that loaded, okay, so if this is what's supposed to happen is on the exercise, if you have the Scribe extension loaded, then you hit Guide Me, and we're going to cross our fingers that it's working today. Oh, beautiful! Beautiful! This is what it's supposed to look like, guys. Yay! So what that does is on the right-hand side is the exercise, and then on the left is the sample company, so you can do them both side by side. And I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger. There's nothing I can do, unfortunately, to make this side bigger so you can see it better on the video. But hopefully this side is bigger and we can follow along together. Okay. Oh my gosh, guys. All right. So hopefully, fingers crossed, things are working as they should. All right. So let's take a look at bank feeds, shall we? Okay. So here we are in step 2 from the left. Now I don't have my cursor all of a sudden. My cursor disappeared. There we go. Oh, it doesn't like me over here. Okay. So from the left navigation bar, hover over transactions, then select bank transactions. Okay. Transactions and bank transactions. Now in the sample company, sometimes the bank transactions is pinned, but we discovered that it isn't always. So I'm just going to click this little close this little pop-up, and here you can see bank transactions is pinned. So I could have gone to it right there, but we don't like to put that in the exercises because sometimes it's not pinned. Okay. All right. So we went to bank transactions, and let me just tell you what we're looking at here for those of you who are brand new. Okay, so actually I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay, so we can talk for just a second. Okay, so you have QuickBooks Online where you keep track of all of the money in and all of the money in, or all of the money in and all of the money out for a particular business. Okay, so for money in, you send invoices, then you receive payment on those invoices, and maybe you're just recording sales, which you do a sales receipt, which means you got the money at the same time as you provided the service or sold the product or whatever. Okay, so that's money in. Okay, when you receive the payment on the invoice and deposit that money on it, then it actually hits the bank. Okay, so it hits the bank when you, if it's an invoice, you receive the money and you then take that money and deposit it in the bank. Okay, so now the bank has a record of it. Before that, the bank didn't have a record of it. The bank didn't know that you sent out an invoice. The bank didn't know that you sold a product. Okay, the bank only knows when you deposit the money. Okay, now when you buy something, so this is the other end, so this is money out. Maybe you receive a bill at which you then have to pay later, or maybe you paid for something at the time that you got it. So you went to Home Depot, you bought some lumber, and you just bought it right then. Okay, so that is an expense. Or maybe you got a utility bill that you then have to pay. Okay, well, when you bought that thing at Home Depot and you used your card or whatever, then the bank knew that you bought that thing. If you wrote a check, let's say you got a utility bill and you wrote a check, you mailed off a check. I give checks a hard time. There was a time when we all stopped writing checks, right? But checks are actually coming back more and more because the bank is charging fees for ACH transactions, and checks, a lot of times there's no fee. So more and more people, I am using checks more than I did a few years ago. So let's say you wrote a check to a vendor. Okay, so let's say it's a utility bill, you wrote them a check. The bank does not know that you wrote that check. Okay, the bank only knows that you wrote that check when they cash the check, when they deposit that check. That's when your bank knows that money has come out. Okay, so the bank is tracking money in, money out, money in, money out, but it's not tracking all of the details about those sales. It says that you got $100, but it doesn't know that you sold, 2 things for $50, okay? And it knows that you bought something for $75, but it doesn't know what you bought. It knows where you bought it, but it doesn't know what you bought. Okay, so that's why we have to have the records in QuickBooks Online that keep track of what we're selling and what people owe us if they if we're sending them an invoice. And we have to keep track in QuickBooks Online. We have to keep track of what we spent our money on. Again, the bank doesn't know what we spent our money on. The bank just knows that we spent the money. So that's why we have to have the record in QuickBooks Online. But now we've got the record in QuickBooks Online and the bank is just seeing the money in, money out, money in, money out. Well, what we can do, one of the beautiful things about QuickBooks Online is that you can connect the two. So you can connect your QuickBooks Online to the bank and make sure that everything that's happening in the bank also is recorded in QuickBooks Online. And the bank is almost always right. I used to train and say, the bank is always right. But I did see on Facebook one the other day where the bank made a huge error. And so the bank is almost always right, but enough times where you can probably say the bank is always right. So the bank says, we got $100 and QBO says we got $110. The bank is going to be right. So you must have made a typo when you recorded it in QuickBooks Online. So that's why it's really important that we process the bank feeds. Now you can do this at the end of the month, just doing a reconciliation. That's what we all used to do back in the day, was we just would get the statement at the end of the month, we would reconcile, and bada boom. But the great thing about this now is we can do it real time as it's happening. We can catch things throughout the month, and then when reconciliation comes, which we still have to do, it's a piece of cake. Okay, all right, so that is the purpose. That's what we're doing. Okay, so now when you connect the bank feed to QuickBooks Online, all you're going to see from the bank feed is the money in, money out, like who it went to. Corey says, except when the bank forgets a comma. Yes, the one, I don't know if you saw this one, somebody posted in another group where it was a payroll thing. It was a payroll thing, and the person had gotten paid $1,163. Like that's what the payroll check was for, but they actually only received $163. So the bank teller forgot the 1,001. So anyway, it happens. But anyway, so what we're doing is we are looking at QuickBooks Online. We're starting with the bank transactions, money in, money out, money in, money out, and we're looking to see, does it connect to something in QuickBooks Online? And it should. If it does, which is what should happen, that's called a match. Okay, yay, it's a match. That's what we want. We want matches. Okay, but sometimes it doesn't find a match. It could not find a match for a variety of reasons. One reason might be that there's a typo in the QuickBooks Online record, and so the bank, that doesn't look like a match to it because the amount is different. Okay, so that's one reason. Another reason is we forgot to add it in QuickBooks Online. This is why it's really important to go through the bank feeds so that you can see, oh, I missed that one, or like I forgot that one. Okay, so then we have to add it. It could be that we already did it together. And now the bank is sending it again, which happens more times than I would like. For me, it's happening more and more, where the bank is now sending these pre-authorization charges. And so they send it once as a pre-auth, just to make sure you have the amount of money in there. And then they send it again, like as the actual final amount. And if you add it from the pre-auth, and then the second one comes in and you don't remember that you already did it as the pre-auth, you have a chance of doing it twice. That is happening more and more to me, and it is extraordinarily annoying. But anyway, so all right, this new hair, guys, is driving me crazy. It is just in my face. All right, so now that I've talked through all of that, let's see it in action. Okay. We're going to go through the exercise. We're going to see it in action. So here we are in the bank transactions center, and we have a number of accounts. You don't have to have all of your accounts connected to the bank. In QuickBooks Online, in their kind of fake environment here, they have 3 accounts that are connected. They have a checking account, the one that we have highlighted. You can tell the tile is in blue. Then they have a savings account, and then there's a little arrow here so you can see that there's a MasterCard also here. Okay. You can also get to these using this down arrow. Okay, so these are the example accounts there. Okay, so we have the checking account. Now, this tile is separated into 2 different numbers. The first number is what the bank is showing. Okay, so this is the total that the bank is showing. We cannot control this number. This number is there because that's what it was when it was, as it's connected to the bank. This is what the bank is telling us is the total. Okay, so in the sample company, it's a negative $3,621. Okay, not likely that a checking account would have such a huge negative number, but anyway, so we don't control that number. This number right here in QuickBooks, this is what we are showing is as the balance. Okay, so there's a bit of a difference. There will always be a little bit. Oh, that was interesting. Did you see that, Joel? My light just went out. That was fun. Now I'd lost my train of thought. Okay, so in QuickBooks Online, I was saying that there will always be a difference. It will never be exactly the same, because there are things that we record in QuickBooks that haven't happened in the bank yet. I wrote a check to a vendor in my QuickBooks, my balance is less, but they haven't cashed it yet, so the bank doesn't know about it yet. Okay, so that's always going to happen. This number right here, this orange number, means that there are 25 transactions that have come across from the bank. This is not good. Uh-oh. Seems like we've lost power. Whatever is powering both the light and the camera. I think I turned off the power with my toe. Okay, well, if you can hear me, then I'm just going to keep going, even though you can't see me, because you can still see my screen, right? Good times. Now you can't see my new cute hair. All right, so I don't know. We don't know what's happening. All right, so these 25, this number here, 25, means that there are 25 transactions that are waiting for you to review. That same number 25 is showing up right here. 25 transactions that are here to review, and you can see them down below. Okay, so I'm gonna make this a little skinnier so that you can see what's going on here. Okay, so what we are looking at here is we are looking at the bank feed. Okay, this is the information that is coming across from the bank. Okay, so this date, that's the date of the bank that it appeared in the bank. Okay, this description is what you are seeing in the description. The payee is not actually coming from the bank. Corey and I had a long discussion about this when we were talking about cleanup, that this payee is totally unreliable. And then this category or match. So if the whole goal, remember, is for it to find a matching transaction in QBO. Okay, that's what this, where it says one match found, that means that it is, oh, the air conditioning is working. Yay.
One room was up heat instead of
Oh, okay. All right, so we got some things fixed and not others. All right. So, so we have, what was I saying? Okay, so the goal is for it to find a transaction to match to. So in this case, it matched, it says one match found, and it matched to a deposit. Okay, so I can click on this and I can see this is actually the deposit that it matched to. Okay, so and I can look at it if I want to. If I think that this is not the right match, I can find other matches or find other matches here. But I can actually just say, yes, this is a match. I'm just going to match it. Once I match it, it no longer is in this list for review. Okay, so it's no longer, notice it says 24 now, it says 24 here. What happened is it moved it into this categorized tab. Okay, so here is the one that I just did. Okay, I just did this. If I made a mistake, I can say, oops, never mind, and then I can click undo. Okay, all right, now we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, so let's go back to our exercise. Because in the exercise, I keep looking at the camera as if you can see me. we turned the camera back on, but it doesn't work. I have to like unplug it and then plug it back in. And I don't think that I have a way. Let's see, can I even? Oh, there we go. There, I took it off the black circle. So now we don't even have the black circle. I hope I remember how to put that back on next week. Okay. So we're going back to the exercise now. So what we've talked about just now was a single match to a single match. The exercise says, well, what happens if there are multiple matches? Okay, there are two things that seem to be the same. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So in the exercise, it is from the left navigation bar, hover over transactions. We did that. Okay, so we closed the pop-up. Okay, confirmed that the checking tile is selected. Okay, for review, we've done all of this. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to find the squeaky clean car wash transaction. You can scroll to find it, or alternatively, you have the option to use the search bar. Okay, so this is the search bar right here. But we only have 25 transactions, and it's not a lot to look through. Okay, so we're going to go right here, and here we see the squeaky clean car wash transaction. Okay, now let's read this. When attempting to find a match, QBO searches by the amount, not date, or searches by the amount, not the date. It actually is a date range. So it looks for 90 days before, 10 days after, something. I can't remember what it is. But it's not looking for the specific date. It's looking in the date range, and it's not looking for what's in the description field. Actually, I think I may have misspoken. I said that it's searching for a date range. I think when processing bank feeds, it actually doesn't have a date range. I think it's when you're reconciling that there's a date range. So I think I misspoke. So it's just looking for transactions that have the same amount. Okay, so we've got, let me finish reading this. So when two transactions with the same amount are found, QBO will present the options to you. Okay, so that's what's going on right here. If not already selected, we're going to click the button next to the, let's see. Did we miss a step here? Oh, yeah. So here we are. Once you find the squeaky clean transaction in the option, we're going to click view. Okay. All right, so then when it opens up, it's saying that there are two options here. Okay, well, that's interesting. This is not the same as the exercise. Squeaky clean car wash. Oh, it's because I clicked on Books by Bessie. This is the one we want right here. Squeaky clean. Okay, here we go. So it did look these and fall between. Okay, so it is looking for through a date range. I don't know. The important thing is it's not using the description to look for the transactions. All right, so now we found two. Okay, so remember up here is the information from the bank. This is what the bank has, and these two down here are what are in QBO. Okay, so which one is the one that's gonna match? Well, we are gonna match the one that matches by date. Okay, so this one is 5/17. You can sort of see it really here. This one is 5/17. So that's how we're going to match. Okay, so, and it is the one that's already suggested there. Okay, so now we're going to click match. And then we have in the note, if this were a real situation, you would want to investigate the other transaction later. Okay, so that is the Pro Advisor Challenge. But let's talk more about, and I'm going to close this here. Okay, so all we've talked about is the matches. That is the Pro Advisor Challenge. That's the end of it. And if I were in my exercise of the week, I would go in and check that you did it. As a reminder, So just a reminder about I keep looking in the camera, I keep forgetting you can't see me. So as a reminder, the exercise of the week is for people who are subscribed to the gym. Like it's an extra course. Exercise of the week is for people who are subscribed to the gym, and it's unlocked when you reach 250 points. The reason we don't unlock it earlier is because the reason we don't unlock it earlier is because before that you have plenty of stuff to work on. The reason we unlock it at all is because people begged us for it. So that's why we have the exercise of the week. Okay. So if you are a subscriber to the gym, you have to use this link inside the gym and then mark it done in order to get credit. Okay. You cannot use the link that we provide in the live stream if you are a gym member. So just a reminder about that. Okay. So now let's go back and talk about what happens if there is no match. Okay. So there are a couple of things that could happen. Okay. If there is no match, you can, let me click this. Okay. Here's one that's not matched. You can tell all of the ones that are not matched. Sometimes they will have a suggested category based on, what you may have done in the past. And sometimes they will not. We don't have any suggestions today, but okay. If you click on it, you can still attempt to match it. Okay. So so if I click match, I can go and try and find it. Now it's a weird thing. And actually Corey is the one that really taught me this. It is a weird thing that sometimes it will not find a match previously. It will not find a match here. But if you click on it and then go to match, you will find it by searching here. I don't know why that is. Okay, so that's one thing you should always do. Is if it doesn't find a match, you should attempt to find a match. Okay. The other thing you could do, we talked about we talked about duplicates. So there is, like I mentioned, it's happening to me more and more. The pre-auth and the actual one that comes. So you might want to exclude them. Exclude one of them if there's duplicates. The way that you do that is you click it. And then you can hit this exclude button right here. And if I were to do that, if I were just going to exclude it, then it will appear in this tab right here, excluded. Okay, so this is the one I just did. And it says, I don't need to worry about that. And the only reason you would really want to do that is if you have already done it. Okay, you don't want to exclude transactions just willy-nilly, because when it comes time to reconcile, well, that transaction is going to be on the bank statement. So we want to make sure that you're excluding appropriately. Okay, so that's one thing. And then so I just undid that. So I'm going to go back here, and then the final thing that you can do, so you can find, so again, holding up fingers to the camera that you can't see. But so the one thing is that you could find a match. Okay. The second thing you could do is exclude it, or if this is genuinely a transaction that's in the bank feed and and it's not in QuickBooks Online, you can actually add it from the bank feed. And many people do this. It's very popular. It is very, very popular for expenses, and it's becoming more popular with money in, because Intuit made some changes recently that allowed us to do that. Okay, so this is an expense. Right now, because QuickBooks doesn't know what to do with it, they are marking it as an uncategorized expense. Okay, we're going to say that we already tried to match it and we couldn't find it. And so now what we're going to say is now we're going to create actually an expense off of this information. Okay, so who's the vendor? Well, it says the bank detail says A1 rental. Okay, there is no vendor called A1 rental. There is a vendor called Ellis Equipment Rental, and I'm just going to use that. Now in the gym, we do it a variety of ways. Sometimes as we're processing these bank feeds, which by the way, if you're in the gym, you get to do this every single month. You're processing these bank feeds every month. And sometimes in our exercises, we say, oh, this is a new vendor, so you have to add the vendor. Sometimes we say, oh, actually, this is Ellis Equipment Rental, but for some reason it shows up on the bank feed as A1 rental. That, by the way, happens all the time, and it's probably just like when they registered, like as a merchant, they were A1 rental. They changed their name, but they never changed it on their credit card processor. Okay, that happens all the time. So first we have to say it's a vendor. Then we have to say the account. We are just filling out an expense. This is all the same information as if we were doing an expense like this. Okay, we're setting it up here. The one thing that it doesn't include here is the payment method, and the payment method can be important if it's a 1099 vendor. That's way too complicated. I don't want to get into that right now. But in general, what you're doing is, so we're saying, what is the expense here, or the account here? We're going to say it's equipment rental. There are several equipment rental things. I'm just going to pick this one. If this were needed to be associated with a customer, if you're tracking that, if you need to charge it back, you have those options. And so I am just going to click add. Before I do that, another thing we could do is we could click categorization history. If I didn't know that it was equipment rental, I could use categorization history. The categorization history, there's some rules about that, and I don't want to get into details about that today. But that's another option. And notice this is new. You could exclude from right here. That's new. I don't remember seeing that before. You could add attachments, which you can do if you were creating actually an expense. You could create a rule from this. I saw in the chat somebody asked a question about rules. I'll answer that question like when I'm done here, but rules is an entirely different lesson. So we're not going to talk about rules. But now I can add this. Okay, so once I have added this, what it's doing is it's using that bank feed transaction information to then create an expense. When I did that, notice what happened. This went down from 23 to 22. It showed up in categorized. Here is the one I just created. I just created this expense. Notice it says, can you see? Yeah. Added to expense right here. This is it created, the bank feed created this expense. I can click on it. I can see, look, exactly all of the information. All of this information I could have added from the bank feeds. Let me go back to, okay, so that is what's happening underneath. Let me go back to this for a second and just make sure. Notice now it's because I just did that one as equipment rental, it's suggesting that these others that are also a rental, it's suggesting that they are also Ellis Equipment Rental and that the category should be equipment rental. So we can take that or, leave it. I just wanted to see real quick. I should be able to split. Okay. I am not seeing items. So this is a whole nother conversation. But when I do an expense, I have the category details and the item details options. I thought that they just added it used to be that in the bank feeds you could only do categories, and I thought that maybe it's only on maybe they took it away. I don't know. This is a new feature where you can add items. Let me try the income one. Yeah, they took it away. So this is a very exciting development, is that you can now add, in QBO, you can now add items from the bank feed, which you never could do that before, and people are super, super excited about it. And it was in the sample company momentarily, and now they've taken away from it. They've taken it away again. So now you can only do accounts. You can't do items. So I don't know what the heck. Sample company, it's a blessing and a curse, guys. It's a blessing and a curse. Okay, so that is, let me address questions in the chat, and then we will talk about our marketing prompts. Okay, so let me scroll back. Okay. All right, so Jason is asking, how can we apply a different rule, like if the wrong rule is applied? That is like, we haven't been talking about rules here today. That is a deeper conversation. Basically, like in a nutshell, what you would have to do is you would have to undo it, and then you would have to manually categorize it, and then you want to make sure that you edit that rule so that it doesn't happen. Like, you don't want the wrong rules to be applied. You don't want the wrong rules to be applied. So yeah. So I'm sorry I can't go into huge detail, but that's basically what it is. Undo it, manually do it, and then edit your bank rules so that it doesn't happen again. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay. Liana asks, if the invoice was paid by ACH transfer, how can we apply the payment to the invoice that we have in QBO? So that is very simple. So in the invoice, when you go to I'm sorry, that's creating a new invoice. Let me go to an invoice that exists. Well, you can just click, receive payment. You can either, whenever you receive a payment on an invoice, you have to find the invoice first. So you can either just do a receive payment here, or you can find the invoice and then just mark it paid. Okay. So the key thing for ACH transfer is this deposit to right here. So if you want to make sure that it's going to the account that it's actually going to, then when you're going through bank feeds, it's going to match to this receive payment transaction. Okay, so that's how that works. Let's see. Tashisa, sorry if I butchered that. Even if the date does not match. Yes, so that's a good point. When you're going through bank transactions, the dates will rarely match, because the time that there is always a delay between when you actually did something and when it shows up at the bank. And that's not just for, like, you wrote a check and it took a long time for them to cash it. It's also like any time that you buy something, you buy that lumber at Home Depot, the date that you bought it was April 10th, but it might not show up in your bank record until April 12th because, I don't know, maybe it was a holiday or a Sunday, or, you know, your bank is just slow or whatever. So the date that it actually happened and the date that it shows up in the bank will actually rarely be identical. Okay, let's see. Patricia says, would a duplicate happen if the bank puts it in QuickBooks first and we add it and it is later then added in manually? Yes, absolutely. Or would that happen to appear again as a match? No, it's not going to happen again as a match, because what you're looking at, this list right here, is what's coming from the bank. And the scenario you just described is putting it in QuickBooks twice. It's not going through the bank twice. So what you're going to see here is you're going to see it won't, the second time it won't show up here at all, because it already was matched. So now you have a duplicate transaction. You will catch that when you're doing the reconciliation, because you'll have an item that isn't on the statement. So you'll see there that you did it twice. Okay, let's see. Thanks for sharing the 5-day challenge. All right, what happens when a transaction is matched with an incorrect transaction? How do we catch that if we are not aware it is incorrect? You will catch that when you're doing the reconciliation. That's the answer to that. And if it's not a match, I mean, if it's matched incorrectly, it's not the end of the world. So if you have two, let's say you have two sales receipts, and they're both, they're a couple of days apart, but they're both for the same amount. You don't have to match the bank feed one to, I wish you guys could see me because I'm using my hands all the time. You don't have to match the bank feed is just going to have these two that are the same amount. And if you match one of them to one with the opposite date, that's not the end of the world. The important thing is the transactions that are missing. That's really what we're doing, is we're finding the ones that are missing, and we are finding the ones that have incorrect information on them. Sorry, now my air conditioning's too cold. I don't know if you can hear it beeping. Okay. So I hope that answered your question. All right. What would be a reason for us to exclude a transaction that came in from the bank? So the answer is always duplicates. So the answer is always duplicates, but it could be duplicated for multiple reasons, okay? So let's say if you don't have, so this right here is a connection to the bank. That means we logged in. So if I click this and I edit account info, let's see if I can do it in the sample company. No, not that one. Edit sign-in info, that's what I meant to click. I don't know if I can in the sample company, but you link accounts to an actual bank, okay? So some banks you can't do that with. And so for those, you have to manually import bank feed transactions. So let's say, for example, you accidentally imported the same file twice. Well, then you would have duplicate bank transactions, and so you would exclude the ones that were duplicates. So that's one reason. Another reason is that it's a combination of the manual import and an automatic import. So let's say you were working with a bank that had that you were doing manual, and then now they have an automatic connection, and so you say, oh yay, let's connect it now to the bank. And when you connect it to the bank sends overlapping transactions. So the bank automatically sends you 3 months of transactions, and you already had those in there. So now you've got, duplicates, some that came from your manual imports before, some that came from your automatic import. Okay. So that's another reason. Now you've got duplicates. And then the third reason is the bank actually sends it twice. So the bank will actually send it twice, maybe due to a glitch, maybe due to that pre-auth and auth situation that I was describing that's happening to me a lot right now. So anyway, all right, so that's it. All right, that is all of the questions I think that I see in the chat. Somebody asked me a question earlier. Let me go back and see if I can find somebody who said, oh, for some reason I can't go back. Shoot, it won't, I can only go back so far. I can't go back to the beginning. I think somebody asked me my bookkeeping story. So I don't know if that was you and you want me to go into that, then I will. The last thing that we need to talk about is marketing prompts. Okay. So when you are a member of the gym, you get, when you are a member of the gym, you get marketing prompts every time when you earn skills, when you learn these skills, then you get marketing prompts so that you can promote yourself on social media. And I just saw, before I get to this, I just saw another question from Chris. When you exclude a transaction in the bank feed, what happens to it? Is it deleted or does it go? Oh, I showed you that. It goes to a special list. Yeah. Yeah, it goes right here. Okay, so excluded. Okay, so if I go and I say, oh man, these are all duplicates, I'm going to exclude them, then it goes to the excluded tab right here. So yeah. Can you delete the excluded transactions once you determine they are erroneous? No. Actually, I think you can. Yeah. You can delete it. But it's not a super great idea to delete it because, what if you make a mistake? That would be like, you can't ever get it back from the bank. So yeah, so I wouldn't do that. Okay. All right, so let's go back to, we need to wrap up here with the marketing prompts. Okay, so in the gym, one of the things that we provide are marketing prompts so that as you're learning and you're upskilling, you can know how to talk about what you are doing. So the reason we added this, because I always heard people saying that they know they're supposed to be posting on social media, but they don't know what to say. Like, this is what I just heard over and over. I don't know what to say. Okay. So that's why in the gym, we give you suggestions of exactly what to say on social media. So today, the marketing prompt is, so we learned about matching bank feed transactions. Here's a sample post. Hey business owner, one of the best things about QuickBooks Online is the bank feeds. Unfortunately, it can be kind of confusing if you don't know what you're doing. And by the way, I will just add, for those of you in the cleanup course, this is one of the biggest ways that business owners get into trouble is that they add instead of matching instead of adding, add the wrong categories. It's just like a big, it's just a big mess. And so it's good if we can nip it in the bud and make sure that people know what they're doing. Okay, so need help, happy to clear things up, let's talk. Okay, so that's the marketing prompt for today. Okay, so the question then becomes, how do you use this marketing prompt? And I see now the question, a couple of you are asking about my journey. I promise I'm going to do this speech about the marketing prompts, and then I will answer the journey. Everybody else who already knows my journey is free to like take off, because we're running late. But let me just share with you this. Okay, so we are at Fast and Easy QBO. We are not a marketing company. We never have been a marketing company. We never will be a marketing company. We are a training company. We teach people how to use QuickBooks Online hands-on, okay? But because I have so much demand for asking about marketing, then we only share this one specific method. It's called the 3-2-1 method. It's used by permission from a company called Bold House, and this is how it works. 3 times per day, you are going to directly reach out to specific people, okay? This is not posting a flyer in the Chamber of Commerce. This is not sending out an email to everyone you know or posting on Instagram, okay? This is directly reaching out to 3 individuals, and that can be by email, text, DM, phone call, or whatever. And all you're going to say is, I am a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Who do you know that I could connect with? Okay? That's all you're doing. You are not selling your services. You're not trying to convince anybody to use you or whatever. All you're doing is you're trying to grow your network. You're trying to find the people who are small business owners using QuickBooks Online, okay? So you're gonna ask your existing network, who do you know that I could connect with? You're not saying, do you know anybody? Because that's a yes or no question. Who do you know that I could connect with? I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. And by the way, if you are not a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, become a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. You can do it in a weekend. Our courses are fast and easy. Get that certification. Then you have a badge, you have a certificate, you're legitimate, and you can go out and try and connect with people, okay? Then of that activity, so you're now doing 3 times per day, you are reaching out. So now you have reached out 15 times. And of that activity, the goal then is 2 times per week, you're going to connect with potential clients, okay? So after talking to 15 people, email, phone, text, or whatever, and some of them are gonna say, oh, I don't know anybody. Some of them are gonna say, oh, I know tons of people, okay, whatever. You're gonna average, and of all of that activity, your goal is to connect to 2 potential clients per week. What's a potential client? It is a small business owner using QuickBooks Online. That's it. A small business owner using QuickBooks Online. Okay, that's what you're looking for. And are you going to sell yourself to them? No, you're still not selling your services. They don't know you. Why would they sign up for you? Like, you're a total stranger. Even if you were recommended by somebody else, they still don't know you. So all you're going to do is you're going to say, hey, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, would love to stay connected in case you need any help. That's it. Hands up. Like, just say that much. And then once you have that, you're going to connect with them on LinkedIn. You want to make sure in LinkedIn that your byline says QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, okay? Don't say QBO, because no one knows what that means. You want to say QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor in your byline. The great thing about having it in your byline is that every time that you post, it says it with your name. It says QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. So you are going to, a couple of times a week, you are going to post a QBO tip. And what's the QBO tip? That's where those marketing prompts come in. Now, you can just use them as is. Some people take them and turn them into a fancy image on using Canva. We have one student who takes them and puts them in ChatGPT, creates a whole article and posts it. Doesn't matter. The whole point of this is to just remind people that you are a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, okay? In addition to that activity, you are going to like and comment on other people's posts. When you do that, again, they don't just see your name, they see your byline. That's why it's important to have that in your byline, okay? Now, when you like and comment, or when you comment on other people's posts, you're not commenting, hey, do you need a bookkeeper? I'm a bookkeeper. Like, sign me up. Like, don't you want me for a bookkeeper? No, that is sleazy. That is icky, right? No. When you're commenting on other people's posts, you are simply saying something normal and something that a normal, natural human being would say. Did they post a picture of their kid? You say, hey, what a cute kid. Like, that's it. You don't this is not an opportunity to sell yourself. The entire point is for you to simply keep waving your flag so that people know that to turn to you when they need help, okay? I always say, how many real estate agents do you know, okay? You know who the real estate agents are because they constantly tell you that they are real estate agents. And how many times does somebody need a real estate agent? Not very often, right? You don't need, but they just are wanting to be in your consciousness, and that is what you are doing here, okay? Now, once you have done that, so you're connecting to them on LinkedIn, you are posting, a couple things, your own posts a couple of times a week, you're commenting on their stuff, okay? Then the whole goal of that is at a minimum, and basically what you're wanting to do is develop, you want to get them to know, like, and trust you, okay? So once you've done all of that, then the goal is once per month to do a diagnostic review. Now, if you don't know how to do a diagnostic review, there are tons of resources available. In our cleanup course, we teach you how to do a diagnostic review, how to price it, how to price the cleanup separately from the monthly bookkeeping. Okay, but you don't have to have our cleanup course. Our cleanup course is an advanced course. Maybe you're not there yet. There are other courses out there that teach you how. There's oodles of ways to learn how to do a diagnostic review or a consultation. Okay, but here's how you're going to land it. Now, it's possible that all this activity that you've done already, people are reaching out to you. That's very possible. But if they're not, an easy thing to do is just to reach out to those people that you've developed an interaction with, that you have developed some kind of relationship with because you're posting on each other's stuff or whatever. You just reach out to them and say, hey, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Would you like for me to take a look at your books and see how you're doing? Okay? Very simple. You're not selling your stuff. You're offering a service. Hey, would you like me to take a look, see how you're doing? If you are in the cleanup course, because we teach you how to do diagnostic reviews, you could actually say, hey, I just finished a course on diagnostic reviews and I'm looking for practice, can I practice on you? Would you mind, etc. So, all right, that is the spiel for that. And you can't see me. I wish that I could put up just like a picture of me, because I hate that you just have to look at this screen. Maybe I can. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna do this, guys. Wait. I'm going to pull up a picture. I have a picture on my desktop called Blue Caramel. This is the picture that I'm using for Facebook now. It's not the hair that I'm wearing today, but okay, there. We're going to put that on so you don't have to stare. So it's kind of like I'm actually talking to you. Okay, all right, let me take a look at the chat. Okay, Nancy asks, is there a sale on payroll going on right now? Is it the same as what is at the end of the advanced course? There is no sale on payroll happening right now. So I'm not sure why you thought that. But there is a coupon. If you have taken any of our other courses, and Nancy, I'm pretty sure you have, if you've taken any of our courses, then you have a 25% student discount that you can apply to anything. And that is found in the next steps section of the course. Okay, so look for it there. All right, let's see. That was Nancy. Amy Lynn says, boy, why does this keep scrolling? Thank you again for another great live stream, even though, oh, you did great. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Amy Lynn. Alrighty. Chris is talking about the 3-2-1, and she says, I love this approach to marketing. I really appreciate you teaching this to us. It feels like such a simple, natural way to make others aware of what I could do to help them. That's really what it is, guys. It's really like that's really what it is. How do you land a client? You tell people that you are a bookkeeper. Like that's really what it is. There is such a shortfall. We talk about it, like internally and leaders and stuff. We talk about this all the time that so many bookkeepers like think that there's no work. And in fact, there is a huge shortfall. There is way more work than there are bookkeepers to service it. And that's why that's why they're trying to develop AI tools to do the bookkeeping. That's why they're offshoring to do the bookkeeping, is because there simply aren't enough people in the United States qualified to do the bookkeeping. So, okay. Let's see. This was, okay, Chris, that was it. Okay, and, oh, Nancy, yeah, thank you for this one too. This one, it actually is my favorite. This hair that's on the picture that's up too, but Joel likes the one I'm wearing today, which you can't see anymore because my camera crapped out. All right, so those of you who've known me for a long time, feel free to just like say goodbye, have a good weekend, and I will see you on Monday for Mindset Monday. I will be in Orlando, Florida, but I will of course make time to check in with you guys. And but a couple of you wanted to know my story. So I love talking about me more than anything else in the world. So I know there are some people who say, oh, I don't like to talk about myself. Like that's not me at all. Like I will, what is it they say these days? I will spill the tea. like I will, I'm happy to like always talk about myself. So my story is this. I was, in a former life, I was a trainer. I was a corporate trainer. I worked for a medical software company, and I taught their proprietary software, and I traveled to hospitals around the country teaching people how to use this software. This was proprietary software, which means you couldn't just take it off the shelf and instantly know how to do it. Like it was, detailed medical records software. And so I traveled around the country doing that, and then I eventually moved into management, and then led up the internal training department for the company. And we did train the trainer, because again, it wasn't something we couldn't hire somebody that already knew how to use it. So everybody that we hired, it was a very fast growing company. When I started, there were less than 50 employees. When I left, there were over 200. And it wasn't the kind of thing that we could hire somebody that already knew how to do it. So as the company was growing really fast, we had to create all of these training programs so that people would know, what the software was and did. Anyway, then so I did that for a number of years, and then I got my dream job of being a stay-at-home mom. So I got married, I got pregnant, I waddled around the office, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go be a mom now. And I did that for 20 years. I loved it. That it was my dream job. I love staying home. I'm very domestic. I love, cooking from scratch. I love cleaning my house. My business partners make fun of me because I clean house on my day off, I love it. So anyway, so I was a stay-at-home mom for 20 years when my husband had a midlife crisis and decided he didn't want to be married anymore. And so that was a giant sucker punch, like it took all the wind out of my sails. I was like, oh my gosh, what now? And I thought at the time that I would just be able to step right back into corporate. I thought, well, I'm still a smart person. I'm still technical. I'm still a good trainer. Like, I'll just walk right back into it. And I discovered that a middle-aged woman with a 20-year gap in her resume isn't actually that attractive to potential employers. And so, like so many people who are in my situation, my age group, I decided to turn to bookkeeping. I was always, really good at numbers, and math was my favorite subject, and I had always kept the like our books, our personal finances. I had always been meticulous about that. I'd been using Quicken since 1993, and so I was always meticulous about our personal finances. And actually, just prior to the announcement from my husband, I started doing work as a daily money manager. So a daily money manager is a person who, it's like a bookkeeper, but for personal finances. And a lot of senior citizens. So my very first client, actually, well, not my first my first real client. Like, I had been doing this, but we'll just say one of my first clients she had palsy, so she couldn't write a check to pay her bills because her hand was shaking, and so I just was writing checks for her, and then I basically took over all of her finances, and I filed medical claims for people. I had a client who his parents were in India, and he was American, but his parents were in India, from India, I can't remember, and he needed help settling their estate, and they were in nursing homes, I guess, and I was helping with that. And anyway, so I had several of these daily money management clients. And so bookkeeping just kind of seemed like I couldn't find a job. So I said, well, let me get into business bookkeeping. And I that was how, so I came across, one of the big bookkeeping courses, which I'm sure you've all heard, there's a ton of them out there, and I came across one of them and decided to sign up for that. And one of the key things, and I think almost all of those bookkeeping courses, they recommend that you get certified in QuickBooks Online. Now, I mentioned that I had been using Quicken since 1993. I was very familiar with financial software. And so I thought it would just be, no problem to learn QuickBooks. I mean, it's the same. They were the same company for a really long time until Intuit sold off Quicken. So I just thought it would be easy breezy, and so I went through the Intuit training, and I signed up for my free QBO account. I went through the training, and as I was going through the training, I just kept thinking, this is terrible. This is awful training. And the whole time I just kept thinking, I could do such a better job than this. Because, I come from a background of technical proprietary software training. So I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, I could do such a better job than this. But I couldn't chase that squirrel. I had to get my life together, and fast. And so I just kept my head down, and I got my certifications, and my very first real bookkeeping client was actually a referral. I did exactly what I'm telling you guys to do now. Is I told people that I was a bookkeeper. And so I got a referral, and from a woman who was desperate to get a bookkeeper, and so I signed up. I was her bookkeeper. I didn't even do like a full, I did a pricing thing based on what I learned in the class, but she was so desperate for a bookkeeper that she did not care. I had been referred by somebody she trusted, and she's like, great, sign me up. So that's what it can be like, guys, for real. Business owners who know that they need, there are some business owners who are trying to do their own books, okay? And the business owners who are doing their own books are not successful business owners. If somebody is successful, they know that they cannot be doing their own books for very much longer. They know it. They know that they need a bookkeeper. I'm telling you guys, like even me now with this super successful business, I was doing my own books for a long time, and they had to it just came to a point where, as much as I love it, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it anymore. So anyway, so that was that. And then in the meantime, I was involved in, just like you guys are, I was involved in Facebook communities, and everyone was complaining about the test. So many people were complaining about the Intuit training and were complaining about how hard it was to pass the test, that I just finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't stand it anymore. I was like, I knew that I could do a better job. And so I put together the basic course, my very first basic course. It consisted of videos and PDF quick notes, and nothing at all like the fancy stuff we have today. And it just flew off the shelf. People were so hungry for this training. And for the first year, I tried to do both the bookkeeping and the training. I hired somebody to take, because I couldn't do the bookkeeping anymore. I was like more interested in the training, and I didn't really, training was my first love. It was the job that I wanted in the first place. And I couldn't, so I had an opportunity to just focus on that. I was like, heck, I'm just going to focus on that. And so I hired somebody to take over my clients, but then I found that I was spending too much time having to even though that person was doing my bookkeeping taking care of my bookkeeping clients, as a subcontractor, I still had to manage that person. And it was taking too much time and focus and energy away from me. And so finally I just said, this isn't working out. And I gave my bookkeeping clients to other people. I still had my daily money management clients. 2 of them died. That's the thing about being a daily money manager, is that your clients go crazy and they die. So you're always having to find new clients, and the trust barrier is really high. So 2 of them died, and then one of them just didn't need me anymore. The other 2, I found somebody else to do them, and I gave my clients just away to other people so that I could totally focus on being. I could totally focus on this training company, which we jokingly say is not we're not a training company, we are a doing company, because we're all about those hands-on exercises. And wow, 42 of you stayed on to hear that's all of that story. I'm shocked. I thought so many of you guys had heard it already before. We have it all over our websites and social media and stuff. I guess it's different when you're hearing it. So Tracy is asking about this. She says, is this not the same as the one in the beginning when the video was working? And I thought you were talking about my story, but actually I think you're talking about my hair. So yes, this is different hair. So the picture that I have showing right now, because my camera crapped out, is that's number 2, and that one is, I think, my favorite. And then this one, 2 of 4, and then this one that I'm wearing today is number 4, which sorry, I have no way to show it to you. So you'll see it again. Joel said this one is his favorite, so I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. Well, that is it. And it is all. Thank you so much for your kind words and your love, and I love you too. And I'm glad that I can be amazing, or I'm glad that I can be inspirational. Let's see. Heidi says, I'm a stay-at-home mom who homeschools but cleans businesses in the evenings. I've been trying to do side hustles for years, trying to get rid of my cleaning job so I can stay home all the time, hoping this is it. All right. Well, Heidi, I have no idea. I have no doubt. That's what I was trying to say. I have no doubt that that you will stay in, just keep doing, just keep moving forward. And you guys, I am so glad, Brenda, I'm so glad that you joined this group also. So I'm going to take off. I will see you guys on Monday from Orlando. At some point, I will check in, and then I will see you next Friday with for our next exercise of the week live stream. And I'll probably go back to hair number 1 so that you can see it. Hair number 1 is the dark one. So anyway, and then the one I'm wearing today is the lightest one. It's like, it's in real life, it's almost blonde. So, okay. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to shut this thing down. We did a test earlier and I shut it down. Oh, I forgot you guys can see that covering up my face. I shut it down the wrong way, and then I was worried that it wasn't going to, it wasn't going to work. Anyway, all right, take care, guys. I can't wait to hear your success story.